What is good? We are now recording. Now, this video is titled, right? This video is by Omizi and it is titled Boom. Her lies are finally catching up to her. And it's about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, who's a self-acclaimed PhD psychiatrist. Right? So let's get straight into it and let's see if she's full of shit or not. Which one likely she is.
Why not drop doctor from your name if you cannot bring forth that doctoral degree?
So I've earned the title. I have multiple.
Okay, off rip, if you don't have the degree, you didn't earn the title. Like, that makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, okay, let's use this logic, right? Let's use this logic. You go to a pharmacy, right? You go, like, you just came from your doctor, right? You just came from your doctor. Your doctor sends you to the pharmacy, right? To go get some medicine. Your pharmacist, right? That you're talking to doesn't have their fucking, like, degree. They don't have no, like, certificates, no like formal education, no like rigorous training, but they just happen to know like, hey, this chemical does this, this medicine does that. And it's like you don't understand when it comes down to things like health and when it comes down to certain things like especially on the level of doctor, you would want somebody to be qualified. It's kind of like a journalist, right? Like a lot of people think that you need to like go to school to be a journalist because you can just tell the truth, right? And it's like no, there are things like ethics, sources. You need to like have confidentiality. You need to like write stories in a certain way, hearsay, truths before like fucking how quick you have a story, like little things like that that may sound like common sense. You only really understand the effectiveness of it when you actually go through that training. You know what I mean? So it's like by you not being an actual doctor is already something that is already like a red flag to a lot of people. Not gonna lie.
Degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. My obedience is to God, not to people. And so as long as I'm in his will and I'm serving and I'm doing his word, my sheep will know my voice, even the sheep in wolf clothing.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
Baby, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
And that's where, and you're standing by that.
Standing by it. Yeah,
right.
because I earned it.
Girl,
But you didn't earn it though. Like by definition, you did not earn it because you don't have the degree. By definition, you did not earn it. Like, what we talking about? Like, I wouldn't mind if she has like a master's or a bachelor's. I feel as if you have a degree in something, you're more qualified than somebody who's just learning it. And that's mainly because, like, when you go to a university, right, you're going more than likely your professor's gonna have a doctorate. In the university, your professor's gonna have a doctorate. Bare minimum masters. And that's mainly because it's like certain fields require masters and certain fields require doctorates, right? Like in journalism, for example, right? Like in my university, they have media and journalism put into like one like thing, right? So if I wanted to get my doctorate in journalism, right, I can get my doctorate in journalism, right? But when it comes down to something as let's say you work in media but you do more technical, it'll be more so a master's degree in terms of like the highest level of study. But that depends on the degree and depends on the field, right? The two of them are very like well integrated into each other, right? The journalism aspect and the technical aspect in terms of media, but it becomes a thing where it's like so one requires more than the other because one is more theoretical, one is more practical. The issue with her statement is that you work in a field such as psychiatry where it makes sense for you to have your doctors because you're dealing with health, you're dealing with mental health. So like you need to be a doctor. People are going to take you more seriously if you became a doctor. And by you saying that it doesn't matter, but yet you still want to hang on to the degree, you still want to hang on to the title of doctor, it's just like bullshit, bro. It makes no sense. It's like it's very oxymoronic. Not gonna lie.
if you don't go and get that paper and just prove these people wrong, oh my
That's it.
gosh, this is the stupidest I've ever seen in my life. Cheyenne Bryant, or Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, has been running around the past couple years on the internet saying that she is a licensed therapist, life coach, spiritual person, root worker, whatever the title is of the day. But what's landed her in this hot water is the fact that she can't produce any sort of paperwork, any sort of documentation, any sort of thing that points to the fact that she has a real degree. Now, many people have had problems with her messaging before, but the fact that she can't even support it with actual documentation not only means that she is a grifter, but also highlights the problem with professionalism and social media. You can just say you're whatever you want to be on social media and nobody is going to bat an eye. But when those people start pressing that B star about your credentials and you can't produce them, well, you'll end up in a situation like Cheyenne Bryant, who has exposed her grift in real time over the past few days. If you're new to this and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. My subscriber count is like my professional degree. It brings me validity. So let's add to it by clicking that button. Now, back into the video. Cheyenne Bryant has become famous on social media for clocking some of our favorites in the space with her therapy sessions that she claims were live for us to see. We're talking about the good grief that she gave Cam Newton. We're talking about what she gave Nick Cannon. We're talking about what she gave Shannon Sharp. We're talking about what she gave B. Simone. Now, for what it's worth, I don't think it's the hardest thing to read Shannon Sharp, Cam Newton, or Nick Cannon for filth. All of those are degenerate, sex-crazed, older gentlemen who pose to be knowledgeable in the space, but have a lot of skeletons in their own closet. But the thing that gave validity to Cheyenne Bryant's words is because she dropped 2 letters in front of her name, and hell, she even printed it out on a chain. Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is what she's been going by for the past couple of years, meaning that she is a doctor of some sort. Now, the problem with social media and credentialing is that nobody really checks on you or checks to see if there's any validity to what you say. You can kind of just say, hey, I am a professional in this realm, and now I have this level of expertise about me. There's only 2 times when somebody needs to check if you are credible in the space or not. 1, if they don't like you, and then 2, if you say something stupid. On a recent episode of the Joe Budden podcast, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant went.
A good way to see an example of that too is Dr. Umar Johnson, right? Because he is an actual, I think he actually has his doctorate degree. So he's an actual doctor when it comes down to, I think, African American studies or something like that. I think it's that particular degree, right? But he is actually educated. So even though Umar Johnson has been getting flack for, let's say, for example, the school, right? Which is the most known thing that he's been getting flack for. It's one of the thing where it's like, you still can't take away his education from him, right? And it's like, the most you can do is be disappointed in the fact that he did that by taking that money over those course of years while being as educated as he is. But being educated also gives you an opportunity to, like, you pass a certain barrier of proving yourself automatically. It's like, okay, this person has a degree. They have a certain level of authority, point blank period, or a certain level of education or knowledge on a particular subject or a variation or a variety of subjects. You know what I mean? So it's like, it just gives you more authority. And then my thing is too, I don't know why I'm not calling a doctor. I don't know why Cheyenne Bryant decided not to just go there and get a degree. It's been long enough. You could have literally went there, operated as a doctor, right? Or operated as like a social media person, but then still get your degree in secret. You could have definitely done that. Like, yeah, it would have been shady if you've been calling yourself doctor, but then now you have your doctor's degree. That would have been better. Versus you've been calling yourself doctor, and it's like stolen valor. It's like you're cosplaying a doctor when you could have just became a doctor. You could have just done that. Especially if social media is your only job or your only profession. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, come on, bro. Like,
onto the platform and said something very interesting that got the mental health, more specifically licensed therapist community, in arms.
No longer practice under a license. A license is really only needed so you can bill insurance. I'm in private practice. I make much more money. It allows me to have more leverage and really be hands-on with my clients. I'm not binded by BBS, the Behavior Board Science Rules and Regulations and Ethics.
Did you guys notice that there was another chain that said Doc and her earrings said Bryant? I mean, one of the biggest narcissists we probably have on social media. Bravo to her. Bravo to her. Now, on service level, you and I would even know that that is some BS and nonsense. Yeah, this is part of the anti-education movement, but a license is...
Bro, like, I'd say this, right? Like, it's the same thing with you're a personal trainer, right? Like, let's say in this scenario, you're a personal trainer. Personal trainers, I think they have their own certification to go to, right? And you have to keep on going to certifications, or you have to keep on practicing in that particular field of personal training to be considered an actual personal trainer. Like if not, you're just a person who has their license. You're not a practicing personal trainer. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, It's like you have to go through like certain certifications and like certain things, especially with something like mental health, you definitely need to continuously get your certification in because that's something very serious, bro. Because you deal with things like giving people medication, talking to people through very hard times in their life, like potentially dealing with serious like mental issues or mental illnesses. So it's like things like that, you definitely need to have it where you continuously are vetted and continuously like are evaluated or is evaluated. You know what I mean? That's how it should be. That's honest to God how it should be. But a lot of people feel as if like you don't have to do it because you already did it one time. And it's like things constantly change, bro. Things constantly change. As simple as being a YouTuber, I mean, as simple as being a bodybuilder, I would say would be a better scenario. If you competed one time in bodybuilding, you get your pro license or you get your pro card, right? Yeah, you're a professional bodybuilder, but if you don't compete anymore, you're not gonna be a continuous professional bodybuilder. Like, yeah, you did bodybuilding before. Yeah, you did bodybuilding in the past, but you're not a continuous like bodybuilder. As in, you don't do it all the time, or you don't do it regularly. You know what I mean? It should. I mean, it's a pretty simple concept, but just people feel as if like you need to continuously do something in order to actually be proficient in it. But whatever.
Is much greater than just billing insurance. A license means that
Yeah.
you have been certified. It means that you
Mm-hmm.
are credentialed. It means that there is proof of work that you have done in the space by a peer of boards and standards
Yeah.
set by others who have done the work before you. And she makes some other
Yeah.
claims about what licenses do, about the short-term care thing and medicine and all this other stuff. And that's out of my wheelhouse, but we'll get to that in 2 seconds. Now, don't get me wrong. Just because you don't have a license doesn't mean you can't do work. If I had somebody
True.
who could fix my broken pipes for 20 bucks, I might not hire a licensed plumber because they still probably might get the job done to the same degree. But I think that
True.
that's totally different when it comes to the mental health space. And that's
Yeah.
why therapists, license, and more came to the table to call out Cheyenne Bryant for the lies
Yep.
and the hypocrisy and the nonsense that she's spewing on social media.
A license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
Hey friends, this is called misinformation. Having a license is not only for billing purposes. A license is saying that you have done the necessary things that you need to do to be able to practice in that state, town, jurisdiction. It is
Yep.
for regulations and it's also for safety, particularly if you're in the field of medicine, patient safety.
Exactly.
I'm Dr. King. I am an OBGYN for over 20 years. I'm board certified and I have a license to practice medicine in Maryland and in DC.
A license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
That is incredibly misleading. Yes, you do need a license to bill insurance, but that is not why licensure exists.
No.
Licensure protects you. It means I have completed specific education and supervised clinical hours, passed rigorous exams, and I'm accountable to a regulatory board. If I breach confidentiality, if I cross ethical boundaries or harm you, you have somewhere to file a complaint and be sure that I'm held accountable. A license is not paperwork just for billing. It's a consumer protection. When someone drops or loses or no longer has a license, they're not solely avoiding the insurance hassle. They're also removing your recourse if something goes terribly wrong.
So off rip,
And I would add to that too, as simple as you having a driver's license, right? A driver's license means that you understand theoretical and practical standards of driving to a point where you can get your license to drive with other people who has also done that certain thing. Have you ever driven with somebody who doesn't have their license or didn't learn how to drive ethically, right? Sometimes it's a thing where it's like most of the time they don't know what to do. If you take a random person and you have them drive a car and they haven't driven a car before or didn't have the experience, they're not going to do a great job as compared to somebody who has their license. And there's different levels of licensing, right? So it's like, let's say, for example, a regular driver's license is like your master's degree. I mean, it's like your bachelor's degree, right? Let's say that's the associate's degree, right? Then let's say that Cheyenne is trying to compare herself to a fucking pilot, right? It's like those are like being a pilot goes above regular car driving and goes all the way up here. Or even if you want to keep the just cars, she's going to be an F1 certified driver. Like, yeah, you're a good driver, but you're not like that level. You know what I mean? It's like a white belt trying to be a black belt. It's like, no, these things are in place for a reason, bro. And the thing is, right? How dare you, Cheyenne Bryant, right? In my opinion, how dare you, Cheyenne Bryant, right, for not wanting to go there and go through the necessary process of getting your education to be an actual doctor, but you want to give people advice. And it's not even like she's just saying this stuff on podcasts. She actually goes there and has her own courses and has her own like fucking one-on-one sessions and shit. It's like you're not qualified to do that. Why are you doing that? You know what I mean? That makes no sense to me. And like the woman said, who was the licensed person, she said like, bro, if you fuck something up, the person who pays you deserves to fucking deal with your ass. So it's like if Dr. Cheyenne Bryan goes there, right, gives bad advice, something bad happens to that individual, or she just genuinely fucked up, that means if since she doesn't have her license, right, that person can't do shit about it. That person's fucked automatically because Dr. Bryan, decided to went there and not get a license. So now she's not she's not held accountable at all. It's like having power without control, bro. You know what I mean? Like it just doesn't make sense, bro. This doesn't make sense.
The downplaying of the necessary credentials and degrees is very, very telling. It's very, very scary from Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. But this is exactly why licensing and accrediting institutions exist in the United States. Hell, the world. It's literally made for those that say that these things aren't important and that you should still listen to me. Now, the only reason why Cheyenne Bryant is even brought into question is because she is calling herself a doctor. If a light-skinned woman with 3C hair was telling Cam Newton that he needed to wrap it up and be with his kids more, nobody would bat an eye. But it's the fact that she's posing as a therapist, no matter what she says. In an Instagram comment after Raquel Martin's post about why it's stupid that she's saying the things that she says, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant says, and I quote, "I don't need a license because I'm not a therapist. I'm a psychology expert and life coach. I don't understand what's so hard for people to grasp about that. Coaches do not need a license. I do not identify as a therapist. My bio does not say therapist, and my website does not say therapist anywhere on it. It clearly says psychology expert and life coach." There's a phrase for what we should call this. I think it's cap.
I've been in private practice as a doctor of psychology for 17 years. As a therapist, two things. You can obviously make what you deserve because therapy is real. We're giving everything we have in there. But what happens is, as I help them as individuals process through their traumas and their pain and their intergenerational issues, they magically either usually cleave or, not many, but some, depart. Because you cannot cleave without shedding. And the shedding that cleaving takes is the shedding of your stuff, your ego, your emotions, your trauma, your pain pockets. And when you shed of that, the cleaving was already waiting there for you. So it's not that anyone, even other therapists,
meaning, you know, she also includes herself in the therapy conversation.
I was just gonna say that,
Dr. Chain again. I want people to know that this is like grifting and scamming 101. The manipulations of different titles, different wording, saying what professional degree you have, what place and stature you have. Because for lay people, nobody knows what any of this stuff means. A doctor, a therapist, a counselor, a psychologist.
And bro, like, as simple as like that is, right? As simple as a concept is, as simple a concept as if you call yourself a doctor, you should be qualified. I bet you there are people who don't give a single shit, bro. Like recently, you have Abba from Abba and Preach, right? He's been going through like this thing where like about like 3 women I think came out and said that he got them pregnant or some shit. And I was like, bro, what the fuck? Right? And the reason why that's very important is because you market yourself as this person who would never do that type of thing, right? So now that there are multiple women who came out and say, hey, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, he did this, he did that, yada, 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 right? The mere fact that that's even a thing is already crazy, bro. So I bring that up to say this, right? It's a thing where it's like, you're putting yourself out there as a certain thing, right? So now it's like when people are bringing that into question, all of a sudden now you're trying to depart from that now. Like, that's so weird to me. Especially with someone like her because she has a website. She's been calling herself a therapist for years. Because I think what Cam Newton happened years ago. So now it's like This is just like she had from then to now to get her licensing, to get her degree, to get a doctorate. You know what I mean? It's a lot, bro. It's a lot. But you could have went and you could have made it happen, bro. Especially if you really wanted to be a therapist, if you really wanted to do this shit for real, for real. Especially if she's already charging people and shit, which is crazy.
All they know is that you are posing to be some sort of professional, some sort of expert in the space, and that you're going to get paid more because of that. This is why it's so unclear as to who and what Cheyenne Bryant actually is. She's been touring this book that she wrote in which she talks about her educational pursuit, but I promise you, it doesn't make it any clearer. Dr. Bryant's story is one of discovered resilience and transformation. At the age of 17, she began her academic journey at California State University, Northridge, where she earned double degrees in psychology and Pan-African studies. Initially uncertain about her career path, she found clarity during her master's program at the University of Phoenix. It was there she realized her calling, healing herself and others. Fueled by this revelation, she pursued and earned a doctorate in counseling psychology from Argosy University, marking the beginning of a remarkable career dedicated to uplifting others. This doesn't really make it clear what she earned her master's in.
It doesn't, because she mentioned like 3 like different institutions. And I'd say this as well, right? It's a thing where it's like, whenever you have a doctorate degree, right, you can search up that person's name and dissertation. Because in order to get your doctorate degree, you have to write a dissertation on a particular subject, which is you have to like find a new groundbreaking study, or, I mean, yeah, you have to write a study. You have to create like your own research or your own like evidence for a certain thing, right? So let's say, for example, if I were to become, let's say, a fucking a fucking doctorate in like health and nutrition, right? I have to master all fields or aspects of that particular subject, and I have to write a dissertation about a certain thing. I have to go out my way to find and write about research on a certain topic. So you go from learning a topic to teaching it and showing evidence for what you learned, pretty much, right? That's what it is. And it's like, you having a doctorate degree is evidence that I know so much to the point where I am able to get my doctorate and teach this to other people. And here is my own like research and this and that, blah, 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 blah. Which is why, low key, whenever I hear doctors be very arrogant or cocky about the fact they are doctors, I understand. Solely off of the fact that it's like, that's a lot of fucking schooling. Getting a bachelor's degree is hard for the average person, right? Getting your master's degree is also harder than that. Getting your doctorate is a new fucking level. Because that's not an easy thing to do. That's not an easy thing to do. How much people fucking like spend multiple years of their lives just studying and practicing in their field to become doctors, and yet you have this one person online, this social media person who's cosplaying that. I would be mad too. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'd be mad as fuck too. Because what we talking about?
She ever earned her master's, and that Argosy University is gonna come into play later because her tall tale about it is just so interesting. The wheels fall off in the Cheyenne Bryant story here. She claims that she is a part of the most degreed demographic in the United States, black women, by saying that she has 6 degrees.
I read a study that say the more educated the woman is, the freakier she is.
Facts.
I read that.
Facts.
I read that in Cosmo.
The facts.
Shout
out to Cosmo. Shout out to Cosmo.
Okay.
Yeah,
cheers, Cosmo.
Huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How many degrees you say you got?
6.
Oh my goodness.
6.
Gee.
6 degrees is crazy,
left
bro.
for Cheyenne Bryant
For real,
and her
what the
ability
fuck?
to get the grift off anymore. Now that this has become such a big deal, at every single stop of her book press tour, people are asking her one question only. Yo, where are the degrees? What about the credentialing? Is there legitimacy to any of this? And at every single stop that she makes, she trips herself up. She kind of screws herself up and puts herself in a deeper hole and deeper corner.
The conversation about your doctorate because people can't find your dissertation online. How are you responding to that in this new era of your life?
It's very simple. I went to a school, Argosy University, completed an entire program. I went back online to get my official transcripts because I was applying to a law school many years ago to be a professor there. And I had to provide my transcripts, right, to get hired. And I went to contact the school and say, hey, I need my official transcripts. I need my entire thing. And there was no school. I was like, okay, I'm confused. I Google. It says this school has been shut down. I said, oh, but I have records.
records. I mean, they were accredited when I attended the school. They were accredited when I finished the program. I go and look, there's a third party that has the records. Well, I contact the third party. That third party only holds records for 2 years. I was past my 2 years. So that means that I had no access to records. And then I contacted,
That's weird.
financial aid. You can't make up financial aid. It shows that I paid for a doctoral program alongside my master's program and my undergrad program. And they said, we can fully refund you your money under one circumstance. We give you your money back. You don't get credit for not a class, a course, a program you took in this university, at this institute. So do you want us to refund you or do you want us not? I said no, because I didn't want to risk the chance of them saying, well, we're going to give you back your money, and it wipes out your entire program. Luckily, I had, getting this for all the schools, I had downloaded from the actual student portal my transcripts at that time, and I was able to get just all of my transcripts, including up to my dissertation. But everything else, there's no holding take for any of our records, which I think is completely effed up.
Dr. Bryant, I was born at night, but I promise you it wasn't last night. That is one of the most convenient stories that I've probably ever heard in my lifetime. The fact that the university got shut down, lost the accreditation, there's no paperwork. Hell, the secretary died in a horrible plane crash in which all of the other front office staff for the university was flying to Jamaica. So they're all no longer existing. There's no classmates of yours.
See, the thing is, right? She low-key could have gotten that shit off if this was like a earlier point in history. But I think the fact that we live in the modern day where it's like when you get your degree, they send you a fucking online version. The university themselves keeps a version, and they give you your physical version. So it's like 4 different versions of your degree out there. Especially if it's a dissertation. Your dissertation is being published on the internet with every other person's dissertation. What are we talking about, bro? What the fuck are we talking about? What the fuck? That's crazy to me, bro.
There's nothing that can verifiably place you at the scene of the crime in which you said that you were a doctor. The problem with the type of lie that Cheyenne Bryant is trying to get off is that it groups in and lumps in so many different people to the story. This week, when she gave out that same lie about the university being shut down and she can't draw any paperwork, other members of Argosy University, which is a real school, came to the forefront and said, yo, gang, that's just a lie.
And there was no school. It says this school has been shut down.
I received my master's in community counseling from Argosy University in 2014. So it is true, Argosy did shut down in 2018. And it really sucks for people that hadn't graduated yet because the school just shut down and there were people in the middle of degree programs. I graduated in 2014, so my degree was already done. I had already received it. And for people that are wondering, the counseling program through Argosy was KCREP accredited. KCREP accreditation matters if you're going towards licensure. I didn't really go the traditional route for getting licensed immediately after getting my degree. I took a long break. Long story with that. But in 2022, I needed my transcript in order to submit to the Virginia board so I could begin my supervision. And I was able to easily access that. I have proof. Here's the email that I got in December 2022.
See? I told you, bro.
With parchment telling me that they sent over my requested document, which was my transcript. And I was curious if I could still access parchment now and still get things. And yes, I can still get a diploma, enrollment verification, and at the bottom, a transcript. I also dug up an email because I keep everything. I always keep my receipt. In this email, they're basically telling us the school is shut down, where to get academic transcripts, where to go. There's different things in here about the status of your financial aid and everything.
There are so many, and I do mean so many ways to prove to the point that you got your degree from an institute. Your email should have records. The office of the school should have records. Parchment should have records. But hell, the biggest record keeper in the Black community is the mamas, the aunties, and the grandmas. I don't know why Cheyenne Bryant doesn't do what most people who got degrees do. Just go to your mama's house and get their degree. Hey, I'll prove it to you how easy it is. You see that? You see how easy that is to do? All I had to do was drive to my mother's house and produce this. It was quite simple. The world would shut up if Cheyenne Bryant just produced.
Bro, even me, I'm not even done with my degree program, and I can get an unofficial academic transcript from my university. I can easily do that. Everyone can do that, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. I don't even have a copy of when I first got accepted in the university. I can just check one of my emails, check the email that I got accepted to the university at, print that, and I have it in person. I can just do that. She has to understand that we live in the modern day and age. Shit is kept on computers, not fucking paper fucking filing cabinets and shit. Actually, it's both. You keep shit electronically and you keep stuff fucking physically. What are we talking about? You keep stuff in both ways. As simple as you being able to order something offline, right? You like they what? You have to write an invoice or something, right? You send it you send it electronically, right? A year from now, you can go check your email from a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 ago, right? You can still find that exact same email because everything is kept on the internet forever. Like, it's just bullshit, bro. What the fuck? Like, oh my god.
A physical copy of the degree, one in which she could even print from Kinko's, but she won't do it. Why? Because it doesn't exist. Now, from here on out, whenever she gets asked a question, she just becomes flat out defensive about it.
You're a motivator for many people, and oftentimes when you have that role, that moniker, you're the strong friend.
Yeah.
So I got to check in on strong friends. I'm going to check in with you because you've gone viral recently. People questioning your credentials, whether you should even be giving advice that you're giving. How are you doing, particularly within the last few days?
Thank you for asking that. I love that. I'm actually doing really good. I don't know a person who has received this amount of free marketing. It couldn't have happened in a better time for my book that just, launched a couple days ago. And within 24 hours, we made the bestsellers list, not only for print, but for the ebook. And so that's very exciting. Also, I know a couple things. There's promises that God has for us. He says that all, not some, all things are working for your good. He also says that not to get weary in well doing. And he says that I give you much territory and your job is to possess it. And my job as God is to protect it.
What's really funny about that is, right? She's saying that, but you're saying all this stuff about God says X, Y, Z, ABC. So God couldn't have told you to not lie to people. God couldn't have told you to just get your degree. God couldn't have told you don't fucking receive business for a certain service if you're not qualified to do it. Did God not tell you to not do any of that? Did God tell you to do that shit? I'm pretty sure he didn't. I'm pretty sure he fucking didn't. I am 1,000% sure he fucking didn't. I believe you told yourself that. I don't believe God would tell you to go and cosplay being a doctor. Like what the fuck are we talking about? Actually, what are we talking about?
I protect what I give you. And so when territory is expanded, God says that the cross gets heavier. And if you cannot carry a heavy cross for the expansion of the territory I gave you, then guess what? Maybe you're not ready, because to whom much is given, much is required. And so it's important for people.
And you couldn't even get your fucking doctorate degree? What the fuck?
When you have folks who come in and attempt to crucify what you have going on, because your job is to not get weary in your service. And I'll land on this. My obedience is to God.
Cheyenne Bryant is a charlatan. She was calling her guest appearances on people's platforms therapy sessions, for Pete's sake. That's the most made up thing in the world. And from what I know about black women, happily engaged to one, they cannot stop. And I do mean not stop talking about their degrees and the education that they have obtained. And they're willing to provide verifiable proof.
Well, I'm so glad you asked. I have a bachelor's in genetics. I have a bachelor's in cell, molecular, and developmental biology. I have a master's in public health, and I'm currently in school to get my PhD, also in public health.
But the reason why Cheyenne Bryant won't put forth any sort of doctorate or any sort of credentialing or any sort of paperwork is the same reason why most people do whatever they do on social media when it comes to lying. They know that having that professional aura around you will get you some legitimacy. During the pandemic content creation boom and gold rush, we saw a plethora, and I do mean a plethora, of people understanding that views equals dollars. And the way to position yourself at the forefront of people's screens was most likely two paths. One, doing some sort of extreme thing, jumping off this, saying that, going wild on somebody. Or two, positioning yourself to be an expert in some sort of space. The legal space, the healthcare space, the mental health space. And when you couple that with the anti-education movement that was going on at around this time, because people were so tired of all of the rhetoric and stories and all this stuff coming out around COVID and the vaccines, et cetera, it was easy to position yourself in the place in space of being a doctor or whatever other expert. Now, nobody thought that anybody would eventually pull people's cards. And Dr. Cheyenne Bryant isn't the only one who's had to go through this. Dr. Umar went through something similar, but you see, I didn't put any quotations around Dr. Umar because he provided proof. He's easily Googleable. You can check his records and see, no matter if you agree or disagree with his rhetoric or the means that he goes about doing these things, he wrote them papers. He turned in those assignments and he walked across that stage. And for what it's worth, when it comes to Dr. Umar, is that he separates his internet social media personality from his real work. I attended one of his speaking engagements, and there is a clear difference between Dr. Umar on the camera with Drewski and Dr. Umar when he's actually doing real work in the space. He's not claiming that he's psychologist apologizing Cam Newtons and whoever else he sits down with on podcasts. He's only doing that when he's actually taking on clients, or at least was taking on clients and doing the real work. But that's where Cheyenne Bryant is so dangerous and so detrimental. And the same with all these other fake gurus and these fake experts in these different places and spaces.
Prosecutors say he ran an illegal dental practice without a license or a dental degree. Now the man who called himself Atlanta's top veneer specialist is claiming in court that he had no idea what he was doing was illegal. Channel 2 consumer investigator Justin Gray is here now with these new developments in a story that, Justin, you first broke back in 2024.
Well, George, this is the new motion Brandon Dillard's attorney filed in Fulton County Court this week, claiming the charges against him should be thrown out because he had no way to know performing these veneer procedures without a dental degree was illegal.
Wrong. You cannot say the amount of money you're going to help people make. You cannot say the amount of people that you want to help make legally. Anybody could be in a position I'm in right now. I didn't think the way I presented it was illegal, right? But when I understood the paperwork, it's like, no, you cannot say, for example, you could have helped 20 people make $1 million. They can hate you now today. Can you go produce the 1099, the person? If you can't do that, you better not say it. So really, it's best to stay away from anything as it pertains to money because you never know when you and that person can fall out. If you cannot, again, if you read the paperwork, if I can substantiate, meaning if I'm going to say I helped her make $1 million, I better be able to produce her 1099. I better be able to produce her. And then I got to submit it to them first before I even can make that claim. So now that I know that, I would never, I don't want to talk about money no more. I want to talk about who you got to become to get the money. Because talking about money is problems for me.
Malachi Love Robinson, the teen, marched out of his Florida clinic in handcuffs.
Malachi, they say you've been practicing medicine without a license.
Sitting down with ABC News overnight, released from jail early Wednesday morning on a $21,000 bail after being busted in a sting operation in West Palm Beach, caught allegedly giving a medical exam to an undercover officer.
Are you a doctor of anything? Anything at all?
I do currently hold a PhD in what I don't feel comfortable disclosing because that is not the issue here.
That is exactly the issue. You don't have your fucking degree or doctorate. Bro, any doctor's office you go to, they have multiple versions of that shit. I went to the doctor I think a month ago. Bro had doctor everywhere in the building and on the outside of the building. I went to his office. Bro, the first thing you see when you walk in the door, legit, is his degree on the wall. The plaque is on the wall. The exact university and everything. But it's my thing is this, right? If you're saying, right, is that getting your degree and calling yourself a doctor isn't that big of a deal, or whatever, right? Drop the handle of doctor. If you feel as if the degree doesn't matter and you don't need to practice, drop the degree. Take the handle out of your name. That's simple. Don't call yourself doctor anymore. And they won't do it. The reason why they won't do it is because the acronym, that DR acronym, has a lot of weight to it. Because it shows hey, you're not a regular person speaking on an issue. You are somebody who's qualified to speak on an issue. That's the difference. That's the difference. It's a very simple thing. What the fuck?
But you
the
treat
issue
people
that
at your
I face
office
now is accusations.
These people are extremely, and I do mean extremely harmful. They take advantage of systems.
And my thing too is if you are that intelligent, right, to go there and let's say practice a certain thing, right, or if you know a certain subject, just get your degree. What's the problem with getting your degree? It makes you more qualified. You'll make a lot more money, I promise you. So it's why not just go in and get the degree? If you're so smart, if you're so knowledgeable about your particular field, just get the degree. I promise you, if you get the degree, all this shit will go away. It's that simple. Fess up. Say, hey, yeah, I don't have my degree, yada, 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 but I am knowledgeable on the subject. But here are my steps, or here's what I plan to do to go there and get my degree. That would be better than just lying and saying you have your degree when you don't. Degrees exist for a reason. It's a proof of knowledge on a subject. I will rather listen to somebody who's qualified in the field, or let's say magically, right, they're not qualified in a particular field, right, but they have done the work, they've done the practice, yada, 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 and they can show me results versus somebody who hasn't done any of that. Even that within itself is higher. But having that degree is higher than both of those things. Having a degree goes beyond experience. It's experience along with certification in a certain field or a certain subject. It's that simple. I don't know why these people just don't get the degree if you're so knowledgeable. But that's why they don't get it, because they know it's a lot of work. They know that they have to actually put in effort. Getting a degree takes time, and it takes fucking effort. Time, effort, and you need to be a special type of person to even get your degree to begin with. So all these things that play into why these people don't want to get their degrees, and why they feel as if they can be so like confident, flaunting that they have it, because they want to put in that work. It's that simple. They want to put in that work.
And disenfranchised people who are looking for a way to escape these things. We know that healthcare is out the wazoo. Fitness is insanely expensive. Making money is extremely hard. And they take advantage of those people who are in desperate need of losing weight, some sort of dental hygiene care, healthcare, et cetera, or just medical care in general. They give them an out. They say the most common sense things like, hey, drink a couple glasses of water a day and you'll be fine. If you wish it, want it, then you can do it. And I'll give you a cheaper option to whatever solution you're looking for than the institutions of America, because these institutions in America are trying to gatekeep you from the spot that they don't want you to be in. But the reality is that all of that is just some sort of lie. It's some sort of embellishment of the truth. And it's a way for them to get their nonsense off and take advantage of people. And if you call any of these people out, they'll hit you with some BS runaround as to why they are getting attacked in this time right now as opposed to anybody else.
They say the reason that you don't get questioned or tested as much is because of your quote unquote looks.
I said this last time I was on, you might be my alter ego brother, because some of the stuff you say is just right up the alley of what needs to be addressed. So there's pretty privilege, and I've learned that there's pretty punishment. And I didn't really understand that term until I got into my field.
The pretty punishment gimmick, one that I've seen before. I do have to applaud Cheyenne Bryant, though, because I do think that we are now walking into an age in which people have been scammed and schemed and grifted on for the past couple of years. And so now you have to prove your legitimacy when it comes to positioning yourself as an expert / professional in the space. And for what it's worth, although I don't think that every professional and expert is right just because they are a professional and expert, I do believe that professionalism and that expertise does give you a leg up over every Tom, Dick, and Harry that can say that they can fix a pipe or cut some grass or, I don't know, psychoanalyze what's wrong with your traumas between you and your mother. It's the sickest shit I've ever seen. And Cheyenne Bryant should actually feel bad and disgusted that she is going around positioning herself in this fashion. I'm glad as a community we are starting to see through this light-skinned woman with 4C hair, probably a fake mole on her skin, and light brown eyes.
What the fuck?
It's wild. It's the wildest thing I've ever seen.
True. But yeah, bro, that's the video. But I think she needs to get her degree. Personally, I mean, I say if she wants to go there and she wants to practice, I think she needs to go there and really work on getting that degree. I feel as if she gets the degree, that would be the leg up that she actually needs to in general. A lot of people wouldn't fucking like, they wouldn't go there and they wouldn't really mess with her as much. They would take her seriously. A lot of stuff, bro. But it's like when you put yourself out there as an expert and you don't even have your fucking degree, that makes you look terrible, bro. And that's for anybody. Like you can be in any field and if you don't have your degree and you're positioning yourself as a person who does have that degree, it doesn't make sense, bro. But anyway, with that said, let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. With that said, I'm gonna catch y'all later, man. Peace.